Hello, everybody, and welcome to week 14 of 22 weeks of lead listing generation. And we took a brief hiatus because I was in Portugal, and this is relevant because while I was in Portugal, I had some crazy experiences. And one of those crazy experiences is we rented a Jeep for the second week that we were in Portugal. And I'm a pretty good driver. I've driven in Manhattan. I'm not afraid to drive in strange places, but I will tell you what I have never done is driven on teeny tiny, narrow, winding maze-like streets filled with pedestrians and 1,500-year-old buildings. And I was trying to avoid those areas, but I was also trying to use driving apps like Google Maps. And Google Maps does not differentiate between wide streets and narrow streets. And so on more than one occasion, as I'm driving the Jeep SUV, which I'm sure the rental company thought they were doing me a big favor giving me, I found myself dumped very quickly onto these winding, narrow, maze-like streets, lots of dead ends, lots of one-way streets. And I would take a wrong turn because Google Maps would get confused, or if I'm being honest, I would get confused. And before I knew it, I was dumped into these mazes with no idea how to get out. I had to back up on these winding roads and all kinds of things. So one, it really got me out of my comfort zone, but two, it really got me thinking about how we have such a reliance on technology. And that can be great. We can do great things with technology, but sometimes we just have to go old school. So week 14 is all about going old school. And today we're going to be talking about door knocking, and that sounds so scary. It does. And I think we immediately hear door knocking and we just freeze up and we say, no way, I'm not doing door knocking. But if the majority of agents are saying, I'm not doing door knocking, guess where there's an opportunity? Door knocking. And so I'm going to challenge you just a little bit to give door knocking a try and go old school, because at the end of the day, we are here to form relationships, and you got to talk to people to form relationships. Now, we're going to do a tech assist because step number one in door knocking is researching the neighborhood, and that you're going to go to MyBoard. And what I want you to look for are two things. One, are neighborhoods that have a high sell-through rate. If that neighborhood only sells 1 or 2 houses a year, not a great opportunity for door knocking. But if there are 20 or 30 sales in the last 180 days, great opportunity for door knocking. So you're going to research the neighborhood for their sell-through rate, and then you're going to look for neighborhoods that have seen high appreciation. And so hopefully you're aware of areas that are in the neighborhoods that you work, of neighborhoods that might already have high appreciation, or look for areas where new development has happened. For example, in Carmel, Old Town has, or the Arts and Design District has gone through great improvements over the last 10 years. And so the homes in those surrounding neighborhoods have really zoomed up in value. So you're going to look at neighborhoods like that, and you're going to come up with the data, right? You're going to look at what did homes sell for 10 years ago, 5 years ago, 1 year ago, or 3 years ago, 1 year ago, and today. And you're going to calculate out what has been the price improvement as a percentage, so that you have a compelling story to tell. Hey, did you know homes in your neighborhood have sold for 32% higher than what they sold 1 year ago? That's a compelling story and piques a seller's interest. So that's number one. Number two is, once you've narrowed down your neighborhood, you're going to look at the individual homes, and you're going to use either the tax records or some type of program which allows you to look at the likely to sell scores for a property. And there's lots of great programs that do this. The tax records even do it now, like give a likely to sell score, which is great. And so if you're compressed for time, you can not only narrow your door knocking by neighborhood, but within the neighborhood, you can actually only door knock the houses that have a high likelihood to sell score. If you don't know that, I just go and look for houses that have been owned for about 10 years or more, because we know homeowners usually stay in a house about 10 years. So if you just look at that, you're going to get a smaller list, because you want to compress your time efficiency when you are door knocking. Okay, so you've picked the neighborhoods, you've picked the houses that are most likely to sell. Now you want to plan your support materials. And this might be a quick CMA for the neighborhood. And you want to plan for the 3 scenarios that are most likely to happen. The first scenario is somebody answers the door who is a decision maker. The second scenario is somebody answers the door who is not a decision maker, most likely a kid. And the third scenario is no one answers the door. So what are your support materials for each of those 3 scenarios? And you want to have your script for all 3 of those scenarios as well. So you want to have support materials for while you're speaking to them, and support materials for what you're going to leave behind. And here's a way to really boost your leave behind is look at the hyper local market and do a little gift. So, I'll go back to Carmel as an example. If I were going to door knock some of the neighborhoods down around the Arts and Design Center, I might go to the South Bend Chocolate Company and take a peek at little pieces of chocolate as a leave behind that are packaged, so it doesn't look like, I slipped a razor in there or anything. Or I might go to the cookie shop and do cookies. I might go to the ice cream shop and do a coupon, something like that, for a free ice cream, so that now I'm acknowledging the local neighborhood and my knowledge of the local neighborhood, as well as acknowledging that I'm an expert in the neighborhood because I know how much home values have improved in the neighborhood. Then you've got to practice and plan your script. And for me, if I'm looking at these high value neighborhoods, it's a pretty easy script. It's, hi, I'm Angela with the FC Tucker Company. I love this neighborhood. I know there's been a lot of redevelopment along with increasing home sale prices. I don't know if you know this, homes in your neighborhood have increased an average of 23% in each of the last 3 years. And you may not be aware of how much your home is worth currently. So whether you're thinking about remodeling, you're thinking about tapping into your equity, or you're actually thinking about selling, I would love the opportunity to talk to you about what I think your home is worth. That's it, right? It's easy peasy. Now, if they say, no, I'm not interested, man, just be polite. You're going to get a lot of this. You're going to get a lot of no's. So you just be polite and you just say, oh my gosh, thank you for your time. If you're ever interested in the future, here's my card, here's my flyer, here's whatever, and you go on your way. Don't make it a big deal. Don't take it personally. Just go on your way. Sorry about that. So then you want to plan for your leave behind if nobody answers the door. And typically speaking, I like to use a handwritten note. For me, I do a yellow Tucker bag on the door handle with a quick CMA and just a kind of handwritten note that doesn't say their name, but does say, did you know homes in your neighborhood have gone up an average of 23% each of the last 3 years? If you're interested to know how much your exact home might be worth, I'm willing to come out and meet with you at any time just to give you that information, right? So if they're not home, I'm not wasting my time. Now, let's talk about when to door knock, because this is an important part of choosing and being successful, right? Don't do it during dinner time. Please don't do it during dinner time. They are with their families and they're not going to receive you well. Also, don't do it first thing in the morning. They're getting ready for work. They're getting their kids off to school. So, middle of the day is a great time to go. Weekend afternoons, after all the weekend ball games have happened, are also a great time to go. But also be safe. Don't do it after dark, probably. So to be really successful with door knocking, you have to understand you're going to be rejected and be okay with it. Be polite, be kind. Set yourself up for success by having a plan for what neighborhood, knowing the neighborhood well, use a hyper local treat maybe to sweeten the deal, and plan your script and plan your materials for while you're there, while you're speaking to somebody, and what you're going to leave behind, and what happens if you don't get the chance to speak to somebody. At the very least, you're going to get to know some neighbors. At the very least, you're going to be out there controlling your first impression. And I think that this is an opportunity for agents who are looking for listings right now and are looking to kick off their summer season. So if you try door knocking, let me know. Thanks and have a great day.